Hey e-commerce marketing podcast listener, do you want to get discounts to top online marketing tools? We have worked hard to get discounts to tools such as OSI Affiliate, SellHack, Ninja Outreach, FreshBooks, and so much more. You can get these discounts by visiting getosi.com/discounts or by texting GetOSI to 33444. These tools will help you get more traffic, sales, and conversions for your online store. Get the discounts right now by visiting getosi.com/discounts or by texting GetOSI to 33444. Welcome to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Today's guest is Bart Mroz, and he's the founder and CEO of SUMO Heavy, a digital commerce consulting and strategy firm. Bart is a serial entrepreneur with over a decade of business management and technology experience, having advised and executed on e-commerce strategies for both established retailers like Nicole Miller and younger upstarts like Stadium Goods. Welcome to the podcast, Bart.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being on. And today we're going to be talking about Facebook Live and chatbots. But before we get into it, why don't you tell us about yourself, how you started SUMO Heavy, and why you started SUMO Heavy?
Sure. Well, the easiest is SUMO Heavy is a strategy and consulting firm for e-commerce companies. We've been around business for a little over 7 years, but my business partner and I have been running sort of web consulting and e-commerce things for a very long time. We started it just because we wanted to get into sort of looking at websites and things like that. And it just made more sense to be very focused on one thing. And we both love e-commerce and we know it's a growing trend and it just kind of fit that.
Okay. And since you strategize and you help e-commerce businesses, with today's topic, it's going to be really helpful because you can let us know some of your clients and whether they're executing on these strategies. And the strategies I'm talking about, the first one is Facebook Live, and the second one is using chatbots. So why don't you tell us about Facebook Live, what it is, how e-commerce businesses use it, and then after we talk about that, we're going to talk about chatbots. So you can go ahead and let us know about Facebook Live businesses are using it.
Sure. I'm actually going to twist that around. Let's talk about chatbots first.
Okay.
It's a little bit more simpler topic. I don't want to throw that at you. Chatbots are people are starting to use them for mostly customer service where, the easy answers are out there, right? Look up your order, look up those kind of things. But chatbots are going to become more sort of a shopping thing where they can actually suggest certain things like, I'm looking for a red blouse or I'm looking for a red bag and you can suggest things and it becomes a conversational type of thing. It's a conversational commerce. Where I see right now chatbots be, like I said, customer service is probably the best at the moment so that, your customer service is not overwhelmed with phone calls or chats where they're just basic things, right? Looking up orders and things like that. But I think it's going to grow a lot bigger.
Okay. And for those listeners who don't know what chatbots are, can you explain to us what they are?
Sure. It's more of if you go on Facebook right now, sort of the chatting like you would with your friends, but it's a actual computer talking to you and replying to your requests. So that's what the chatbot is. It's really like your friend or a person talking to you, but it's really just a computer giving you some hints of what's going on.
And so the business will program what the computer is going to be telling the customers.
Correct. So for example, like I said before, it's look up your customer number and go back from there.
Okay. And is Facebook the only company that provides these chatbots, or are there other companies that e-commerce businesses can use?
No, there's tons of different companies that will let you kind of program, your own personal one on your site. Facebook is just the easiest because it's so in everybody's life right now. Pretty much everybody has it. So there's that.
Okay. So because everybody has a Facebook page, it makes it easier to connect that data with your e-commerce just to get the customer information and then create different responses that the chatbot can use to help the customer. Okay.
Right. It's just easier, right? It's already there. Most people have Facebook. Most people will just use it because it's just there. You can sign in with it. But because it's in one place, you get that. I mean, the chatbot stuff, I mean, you don't even have to use a specialized software. You can do over text messaging. It will work the same way. It's just because it's built in, it's just easier that way.
Okay. So other than, I can see the use case for customer support and helping the customer, but are there some other use cases that people are working on right now and developing where eventually it might just help the business do other things other than support, like take
correct. We've seen it work with shopping itself. So we test a whole bunch of stuff all the time because we want to recommend for our clients, but we've seen it where you're like, say travel, right? You're like, I want to go to California 2 weeks from now. I need a cheap flight and I need a room, right? And the chatbot, a lot of them are starting to be smart enough where they figure that out for you, especially if you add all that stuff, then you can just purchase the stuff straight out. So it definitely works in those kind of things.
Okay. And for any e-commerce business listening to you right now, how can they get started and implement this for their business?
I would look into, obviously, Facebook, because you can look at consulting firms, but I would look into Facebook and start looking at other chatbots, looking at what other people are doing and playing around with it before you start implementing it, because it's going to take you a while. It's not cheap to implement, but you definitely want to look at what the business case is for you and if it makes sense. I don't think it's going to make sense for everybody, but for people who are overwhelmed with sort of, I guess, starting with customer service would be the best place.
Okay, so are we finished with chatbots before we move on to Facebook Live?
I think so.
Okay, great. I think how you broke it down makes sense. So let's move on to Facebook Live. I guess today is a commercial for Facebook, but so yeah, with Facebook Live, you're talking about using video to sell and engage in your audience with the video to try and direct traffic and increase sales.
Yes. So what I've been fascinated especially is how do you take a QVC model, an HSM model, and move it to the web without building new things, right? Facebook Live came out and you can do live streams, plus you can do advertising, and you can build in your shopping cart right into Facebook feed itself. Something like Shopify will let you do that. So, because you can do that with ads and things like that, and your ads are very targeted, you can target your particular show. It should be a short one, but still entertaining. You can target your show towards certain demographic and very, very concentrated so that your uptake or your percentage of sales will be so much better in one shot. That's how we always thought about it. And then if you look at now what QVC and HSN merging together, I would say 50% of their traffic or their sales are actually e-commerce, and they're going to take it into a streaming world a lot more.
Okay. So with using Facebook Live, a business, when they go live and they're about to do their show and have it on air, you're saying they can actually target the customer. So the customers would know ahead of time. Like, do you let your audience know, hey, we're going live at 9? Or is it like when you create a Facebook ad and you say, okay, this is the demographic I want, let them know I'm live? And
exactly. You can do multiple things, right? So we're selling to, say, women in North Dakota. They're between 30 and 40, right? Whatever we're selling, whatever the product is. You can pre-target that, say, hey, we're going to have a show for you at 1 o'clock. Please watch it. That's going to be live. Then what you do, you record it at the same time, and then you can retarget that over and over and over for different demographics, different states, or wherever else it is, and have this particular sort of shot at it. So yeah, maybe your audience is smaller, but it's very, very targeted. That means you can sell a lot more to that particular audience instead of just blasting it out there.
Okay, and how easy is it to implement this strategy? Like, what's the work involved in producing a show and going live?
Depends how you want to do it. So you can do it on a cheap and try it out, basically in your own. I mean, you can do it right off your phone. Your ads and just play with your ads and creative, and then you can do it right off your cell phone because the streaming is right built in. You don't have to go crazy with it to see how it works. And I think the more authentic, the better. You can get into production work, but to see how it works for you and what you can do with it, just doing it off your phone will work just fine for a smaller business.
Okay, and are there some things that you think people should avoid when they're going live, like some mistakes you've seen that people should probably stay away from?
I think just being authentic, even if you don't overproduce it, that's just not, that shouldn't be there. Yes, production and stuff like that will be great eventually, but don't overproduce it. Mistakes will happen, and that's okay. Because it's live, because it's a live show, you don't overdo it. I think that's where it is. So I don't think people are not, they're starting to do this kind of stuff. It's not there. You can see that in sort of the Instagram game where people are doing videos of makeup and things like that, where that's actually hitting really well for the moment. But there's no real mistakes, like overproducing it and overdoing it maybe, but being authentic is where it's at. That's always been the challenge of really, really being authentic and not overdoing it.
Okay. And are there some brands that you have seen that are actually doing this well with the Facebook Live?
Not yet. QVC being one where they do their streaming online now too. So not particular, but people are trying. A lot of the makeup sort of brands, people who sell Avon and things like that on their own, are doing a pretty decent job of showing how to put makeup on and things like that. Don't have specific sort of sites and things like that, but I've seen a lot of people do that well.
Okay, and what about YouTube? Because YouTube does allow live streaming. How is that different than the Facebook?
I mean, I think you should do live streaming on all of them, right? Would it be Periscope? Would it be YouTube? Would it be Instagram? Would it be Snapchat? Any one of those things. The cool thing about Facebook is that you have this platform with advertising, with production already built in. I would try it there first. It has to do with the ad stuff. Targeting your YouTube with ads is a little harder, where Facebook you can actually target properly and then in the feed. So you should stream and try to do all of them. I just think that Facebook is where you should start.
Okay, and so far we've talked about chatbots, Facebook Live. Are there other forms of social commerce that people should also be looking at and testing out?
Sure. Obviously Snapchat, obviously Instagram. Those two are definitely the ones to play with and see what happens. Some of them still don't have the purchasing. I think it's coming. I think it's coming to Instagram at some point where you can purchase straight from the feed. We'll see how that goes along, but it's definitely coming. And especially with things like, Apple Pay or Android Pay, you can just pay straight through so that shopping on sites is becoming easier on the mobile. And that's where it's going to be. Doing entertaining shows or short form entertaining shows is really the key. And not being boring. If you're boring, nobody's going to watch. The attention is everywhere. So getting attention is a little harder.
Okay, so one thing I see is some people it's not that they're hesitant, but because of the pace that technology is moving at right now and all these social networks, some people might feel, hey, is this just millennials or is my market actually out there with all these social networks? So for those types of businesses, why would you recommend for them to try out using the chatbots, the Facebook Live, the Snapchat, the Periscope?
Attention. It's where a lot of people's attention is going. It's going towards Facebook. It's going to Instagram. I mean, Instagram exploded in the past, sort of this year. That's really where it's at. You go wherever the attention is. Look at it. How many people do actually look at billboards right now? Nobody. Everybody's driving, texting on their cell phone, but everybody's looking at their cell phone. So that's the play, right?
Yeah.
Now there's room for TV still a little bit more, but how many times have you sat there watching TV and a commercial comes on, and you're on your phone anyway, right? So you got to go where the attention is at all times, and e-commerce has that challenge, right? Because people's attention is going all over the place, and a lot of it's going toward Amazon if you really think about it. So there's definitely part of that that's going to be huge in the strategies of new e-commerce companies.
Okay, but I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all this information and talking to us. If people want to reach you, what's the best way to reach you?
SUMO Heavy, Bart at sumoheavy.com, or on any social media, it's Bart Mroz. I'm on everything, just be my name.
Okay. And what would you say is one thing an e-commerce business can do right now, today, to help them get more traffic and get more sales?
I would say start testing all the platforms that are out there. Put a little more time and effort into it. You don't have to put all your money towards it. Keep on doing what's working, but I would say test all the new stuff that's out there.
Okay, Bart, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the eCommerce Marketing Podcast. Join the eCommerce Marketing Podcast Facebook group to learn, connect, collaborate, and grow with other e-commerce marketers at getosi.com/FB. Subscribe to us on iTunes by searching for eCommerce Marketing Podcast, and please leave a rating and a review. Thank you for listening. See you next time.